Jim, you just kind of showed up out of the blue and wanted to say hello.
Yes.
Wow.
Glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you too. All the way from where?
Hutchinson, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
You got to say the O, don't you?
Yes, you got to say the Oda.
Minnesota. Have you ever heard the phrase "housed by you"?
No, I have not.
I thought that was a Minnesota phrase.
No.
All right, maybe it's further north or somewhere. But so you're just started beekeeping this year.
Yes.
You've kind of been watching some videos of
Yes,
mine?
been watching your videos for a little over, basically last year when COVID started.
Yeah.
My daughter and son-in-law have hives at our facility out on Cokato Lake, and hey, they didn't winter over so well in 2018 to 19 years, so we kind of took a year off, and they said, well, hey, get in with us and we'll try to teach you. So
good.
Watching your videos, I was in the Danville area. I said, hey, I got to come out and meet them.
Oh, I'm glad you did. What do you think of the background?
Hey, this is really neat.
A lot of people are like, oh, it looks like it does in the video.
Yes, exactly the way it looks like in the video.
Yeah, but, well, good. I'm glad you're a viewer of my YouTube channel.
Yes, enjoy
watching it.
Subscribe. Got the little notification on it.
Oh, good, good.
We're going to talk to you pretty soon about the B6 or the B Team 6
Yeah,
thing.
B Team 6, yeah.
I'm going to talk to you about that.
Good. Got a little opening for a minute, so it's going to close up pretty quick.
Okay, we appreciate that.
Well, thanks, Jim. Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Today we're going to take a look at a hot knife used to uncap frames of honey. We're going to look at today if it's worth it or worthless. And it all starts right now. What's up? I'm David Burns, EAS Certified Master Beekeeper. Today we're going to look at a hot knife. We use these to uncap sealed frames of honey to take the wax capping off so we can extract the honey out in our extractors. And this particular type of knife, it actually heats up to a pretty high temperature, and then it kind of melts or more easily cuts those wax cappings off so that you can more quickly extract your frames of honey. So today we're going to actually answer the question, is this worthless or worth it? Because an alternative is what's called a cold knife. No electricity, no power, no heat, just a serrated blade that's used to do the same thing. So we're going to compare these two today and see which one we like best and whether it's really worth using one of these or not. They're kind of expensive, so we need to find out if they're worthless or worth it. So we're going to have to go to the hive, take out 2 frames that are capped over honey, bring it back, and we're going to experiment with 2 frames, kind of cut them open. We'll cut one open with the hot knife and one open with the cold knife and see which one we prefer. Also, I'm going to leave a link at the end of this video where we follow up. We're going to take 2 frames that we open up. We're going to spin them through an extractor, and I'm going to show you how all that works. I'm going to leave a link to that at the end of this video. And then we're going to drain all the honey out of those frames, and then we're going to weigh it and see how much 2 frames, 2 honey super frames make in pounds of honey. That'd be interesting. Please watch that video. I'm going to leave a link at the end for that video coming up, kind of like a follow-up. But today our focus is going to be whether these things are worth it or not. So let's get started. Let's go out, jump in a hive, and take out 2 frames. I'll bring them back here. We'll get to work. But they're doing a good job getting this super filled out here, but not capped over yet, so we're going to go down to the green one. There we go. Oh, it's getting pretty heavy though. Now we're going to take 2 frames out that's capped over, and we're going to replace it with 2 other frames that are not capped over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This has 9 frames in it. Some people say by putting 9 frames in, the bees pull it out a little bit wider, which makes it a little easier to extract if that's the case. Let's get the bees out of the way so we don't kill any bees. And today it's about pushing 90 degrees and it is hot in this bee suit. Unbelievably hot. I am sweating, sweating, sweating. All right, that's a perfect frame of capped over honey. What we're going to do now is just brush the bees off and take it. Brush off the small hive beetle. Should have killed it, but there's so many I need to put traps in this hive. Get the beetles out. If you do see a lot of small hive beetles in a super like this, you don't want to use anything like a bee escape, because if all the bees leave through your bee escape, there's no bees to protect the honey, and so small hive beetle can just have a heyday up there. And if you see a lot of small hive beetle up in your honey super, you really need to be careful. If you're going to store the super somewhere, you'd be better off to harvest it right away or freeze the frames until you can harvest them. Otherwise, any eggs that are laid or the small hive beetle themselves could worm their way around these supers and destroy that precious cargo. Let's brush those bees off. Brushing bees is cool. I like brushing bees. Bees are exoskeletons, so it doesn't hurt the bees to brush them like this. Exoskeleton means exactly what it sounds like it means. Skeleton is on the outside. The harder shell is on the outside, not the inside like us. All right, let's put hive back together again with these frames that I've just harvested the honey out. So I'm putting it back in there, give them a chance to fill those up again. And they should fill those up relatively quickly. Many of you know that I recommend, when using these JB's queen cages, the plastic ones, the best way that I can deal with hanging them is by putting a nail right through the top like this with the queen in there. This does not have a queen in it now. And then you can successfully hang it like this between two frames, and it works out really well. But when you take out your queen cage with the nail on it, don't just throw it out in the yard, as somebody has obviously done. And I stepped on it and dodged the bullet barely. It came up through the edge of my shoe. See if I can pull it out. Wow, that's in there. That's going to take a crowbar to take it out. It won't come out. Wow. There, it's coming now. Oh. So if you use it this way, be careful to discard it. Don't just throw it out in the yard and step on it. Whew, that was hot being out in the hive. Wow, it's a hot day. I always say that, but it was hot. Okay, so I've gone ahead and started up my hot knife, getting it warmed up. Man, they're dangerous. You have to be careful. I have two hot knives, and the first one that I tried, this one, when I plugged it in, it kicked the breaker. So apparently, this one does not work. So that's a mark against the hot knife already, right? If they don't work, what good are they? All right, so this one I've plugged in, and it did not kick my breaker. And I've had these a while, so I'm going to get going on that so you can see how it works. Okay, so let's talk about the hot knife. We're trying to figure out if it's worth it or worthless. Now, I don't know about you, but already this thing seems crooked, and I've used it for a while. I wish it was bent the other way, and I can probably bend it, but now that it's hot, I'm not going to try it, I don't think. Anyway, I'll try it. Again, the reason why we've always had these hot knives is it's supposed to kind of melt the wax as it uncaps the wax. I'm going to show you how I traditionally use these, and I'll just start slicing it back and forth, moving it back and forth, and it's supposedly supposed to melt the wax. Boy, that missed my bucket. And I'm going to stand up and get a better angle of this. I haven't used one of these in a long time, and I have no idea how it's working. Oh, there we go. It works better to go up from the bottom for me. I'm just shaving off the wax cappings off the frame there, and I feel like it worked pretty good. I really do. There wasn't much left uncapped. Now let's try to do the other side, and I think it's going to work better if we go up from the bottom. This frame is a pretty average frame as far as how much is capped over. It's not totally back all the way to the yeah, and I think one of my problems here is that my uncapping knife is slightly bowed a little bit in the middle, and that bow is not digging in where I want it to dig in. So let me try to use the end better. No, it's not going to get that little section there. You can see how fast the honey runs, and that's because the blade is so hot that it's actually causing this honey to melt rapidly and overheat. Now, what do you do about this part of the frame right here that doesn't get uncapped? Well, let me show you. So it really doesn't matter whether you use a hot knife or a cold knife. You're still going to get low points on the frame like this, that the only way that you can really open them up is by scratching them open with the honey scratcher like this. And I thought about doing a video on, is a honey scratcher worth it or worthless? Meaning that you could use a fork out of the kitchen, but that's a giveaway. These work so much better. A fork will never do it. But I like to do it for those hard to reach places. You got to open the caps up of every cell in order for you to get maximum honey out of this frame. Now, before I give my opinion whether the hot knife is worth it or worthless, I want to put out my disclaimer like I do in most of my worthless or worth it videos. And that is, it's a matter of opinion for everyone. I mean, really, some people are going to love these hot knives. Some people are going to hate them. So I'm not the final say. It depends on your personal preference. It depends on, you know, kind of like what your style is, how many hives you have, and all that. But for me personally, I spent the early part of my beekeeping career back in the early 90s only using a hot knife. And I went through a lot of them, quite honestly. The thermostats and the ones that I was buying, something would go wrong with the thermostat and it would cause the blade to overheat or not work at all in the case of this one here. And as you saw on the other one, it was slightly bowed, and that wasn't the best thing. Now I can probably put that in my vise and take the bow out in the other one that I've got cleaning up now. But this one doesn't work, and it's not worth fixing in my opinion. I don't remember where I bought it. I'm sure you can buy these from big beekeeping companies or on Amazon, and it heats up. They're very dangerous. They will burn you. They're very hot. I'm going to say, for me, it's worthless because this works so nice. It's so easy. It's always available. Now, I want to explain to you why I prefer a cold knife over a hot knife. As you saw in the video, the hot knife has a way, in my opinion, of burning or scorching or overheating the honey. You think it's just uncapping the wax, but this whole flat part is actually coming in contact with the honey. And you know, sometimes if you're baking a pot of beans and you let it get too hot and the bottom burns a little bit, the top part of the beans you would think would be okay. Not really. The whole pot tastes like burnt beans. And so I kind of get the impression it may all be psychological, but when I use these, I can kind of taste a burnt honey flavor to the honey that I use a hot knife on. And again, it might just be in my head. But with a cold knife, I don't seem like I taste that in my honey. So that's one of the reasons that I prefer not to use these. Again, the only reason I'm saying this is worthless for me personally is I don't want my honey overheated. I don't want it burnt. It was running, you saw it running, it was way overheated. I just don't want that. And the fact that I can't control the thermostat, a lot of these are producing way too much heat, and some don't work. So enough said about that. A cold knife is always going to work for me. These are actually made for extracting frames of honey. They're not just anybody's blade. These are actually made for extracting honey. They work really well. I've used these for years on all my supers now, and I do prefer these. They're very nice. I'll look around and see if I have a link for these, and I'll find out where I got them, and I'll leave a link below for these serrated cold uncapping knives. I really do prefer them. Let me forewarn you that there are a lot of other gizmos and gadgets out there, and here is one of such said device. And as you can see, I assume that it's made for uncapping the caps on your honey frames. It has the forks on this side here, and it has a blade here. To be honest with you, I've never used it because I just can't bring myself to use something like this. But I think I really do need to try it. So it would be worth trying, wouldn't it? So let me go get another frame, and we'll see if this works the way I think it might. So what we're going to try to do is, I guess, push it this way and see if it will just roll up the wax beneath it. Okay, can't make that work. Should I pull it back like that? Let's try it this way. Maybe the forks that dig in and do something unique. Okay, this is working nicely. I'm sort of impressed right now. But then the problem is I'm digging too deep on the one side. I can't keep it level. I try to keep it more level. The other problem is, how do I get all that wax off of there? Ooh. Okay, well, that's that. Maybe that's how you do it. I don't understand what this is for then. If all of that is supposed to be done that way. Maybe that's just a guide. Maybe this guides it here and keeps it level on the actual honey, on the actual comb. Maybe that's your guide to not dig in too deep. I see. Okay. Okay, I kind of like that, actually. Wow. I got a strip in the middle, so apparently I'm not either doing it correctly. Ooh, I wish it didn't leave all the wax. Let's see, how do I do the middle? Maybe I can just scrape all the wax with this like that. Alright, well, blah. It works, but I'm not going to say that it's better unless I'm using it wrong. I'm going to say that it works, but it's a little messier. And I guess maybe I need to research again a little bit more, but I think I used it correctly. But it works, but it's just messy. I hope you have enjoyed this video because it's really helpful for those of you that have never extracted honey, or you're not sure how you're doing it or what tools to use, or if you should buy an extractor. I hope that helped answered some questions for you. So what we're going to do is, at the end of this video, we're going to take the two frames that we cut open and run them through an extractor, and then we're going to watch the honey run down from the extractor into a strainer to strain out wax and any kind of stray wood chips off the frames. And then we're going to bottle up that honey. We're going to weigh it to see how many pounds two medium frames of honey will actually produce. And then we'll know how many pounds we can get out of a 10 frame medium honey super. So be sure, I'll leave a link in just a few minutes about that. But I want to show you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'd mean a lot to me. I want to thank all my wonderful subscribers. You're great to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it. What I'm going to do to motivate you, so many of you watch my YouTube channel, but you haven't subscribed yet. And I really want you to subscribe. I'm asking pretty please. I'm not begging just yet, but that's close. So what I'm going to do, if you will subscribe as a new subscriber, you haven't subscribed to my channel before and you're going to subscribe now out of me motivating you this way, I'm going to choose a random single winner of new subscribers to this video to receive a free ultimate beekeeping course. So all you have to do to qualify is subscribe, and I'll randomly draw from my new subscribers from this video a winner. One single winner. So please subscribe, and it's my way of thanking you in advance for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Now, as I've talked about this upcoming video that I want you to watch, it's a really good video. I'm wearing a Batman shirt. Some of you may have seen this video before, but it walks you through these 2 frames, how to extract them, how to run the honey through a strainer, what kind of bucket to use, how you bottle it. Some of you have all these questions you've been asking me. So here we go. You ready? There it is right here. Click on this video. Click on it right now and it will take you all through the process of how to bottle that honey up and everything. So it's a good video for you to watch. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.